शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ महागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती। धीनामवित्र्यवतु आनो दिवः पर्वतादा सरस्वती यजतागन्तु यज्ञम्। वाग्देव्यै नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः। स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः। स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। कैवल्योपनिषत् मंत्र 19 in my book. In your books it may be 17 or 18. यत्परं ब्रह्म सर्वात्मा विश्वस्यायतनं महत् सूक्ष्मात् सूक्ष्मतरं नित्यं तत्त्वमेव त्वमेव तत्। The author, not the author, the Upanishad. In the Upanishad, there is a guru. We don't call it author because it has no author. Upanishad doesn't have an author as far as we know. It is apaurushaya. No human author. So we don't say the author, we say the Upanishad says. Shruti says. The Shruti has introduced a guru and a shishya. Now the guru is teaching. The guru has unfolded the teaching. Now, in this verse, as well as in the following verse, the guru is concluding the teaching. The Guru is summing up the teaching in the two verses. So this is also a Mahavakya. This is also a Mahavakya. Tattvameva tvameva tat. Tat tvam eva. That is you. This is the essence of the teaching. What is that? What is Tat? The Guru is explaining Tat Pada. Yat Param Brahma. Major part of this mantra is description of Tat in the Mahavakya. Tat refers to Param Brahma. Brahma. In Vedanta, we talk about two types of Brahma. Param Brahma and Aparam Brahma. Parabrahma and Aparabrahma. Aparabrahma is Hiranyagarbha. It is a lesser Brahman. It is not really the Brahman. Hiranyagarbha is also like us. Even we can become Hiranyagarbha if we make some special effort, some special rituals, some special meditations. We can also become Hiranyagarbha. It is not a big thing to become Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, Hiranyagarbha is Aparam Brahma, lesser Brahman. To distinguish from Hiranyagarbha, we refer to the true Brahman. That is being talked about in Vedanta. We refer to it as Param Brahma. Param Brahma is the Brahman. If you just say Brahman, it is Param Brahma. The Shruti could have just said Param Brahma. The Shruti could have just said Brahman. Still the Shruti uses Param. One purpose is to distinguish it from Hiranyagarbha. Some people who might be thinking of Hiranyagarbha as Brahman, the Shruti wants to give some clarification. We are not talking about Hiranyagarbha. We are talking about Param Brahma. That is one purpose. There is another deeper purpose also. Brahman is Param. Instead of taking Param as an adjective to Brahman, we can also say Brahman is Param. What is Param? The supreme, the ultimate. The supreme, the ultimate is Brahman. The word Param implies that Brahman is the Purushartha. That is what we are seeking. Whether we know it or not, all of us are seeking Brahman. Because we are seeking Param. We are seeking the Supreme. Nothing short of the Supreme. Until we attain the Supreme, the seeking will not come to an end. Many people will say, I want to become something. When we were children, we were asked, what do you want to become? In the schools, the teachers would ask, what do you want to become when you grow old? They asked me. I said, I want to become a sannyasi. When I was in class 6th or 7th. And everyone laughed. They thought I am joking. But it happened. Just for fun. So, everyone wants to become something. I want to become this. I want to become that. In fact, we were trained to say that. I want to become a doctor. I want to become an engineer. I want to become a lawyer. We were all trained to say that. And even if we ask today, given another chance, what would you like to become? Some people might say, if I become young once again, and to become young once again, we need another janma. In this janma, we cannot become young once again. So, the desire to become once again will take us to another janma. That is why we should put an end to all our desires. I want to become this, I want to become that. As long as we cherish these desires, there will be rebirth. Mundakopanishad says, Kamanyah kamayate manyamanaha sakamabhirjayate tatra tatra. Anybody who cherishes desires, he will be reborn with the same desires. Saha kamabhirjayate tatra tatra. Therefore, to put an end to rebirth, we have to put an end to all karma. I want to become this, I want to become that. Karma has to come to an end. Paryapta kamasya. The goal is to become paryapta kama. Apta kama. All desires have come to an end. All seeking has come to an end. And you don't want to become anything else. How is it possible? It is possible only when you attain the paraha. You attain the param, the supreme. The supreme is something beyond which there is nothing. You cannot get anything beyond supreme. The supreme is complete. That is Param, and that is Brahman. Therefore, to put an end to all the desires, one has to attain Brahman. In other words, one has to become Brahman. Until then, we will keep seeking. We will keep desiring. I want to become this. I want to become that. I want to become a lawyer. It's not possible in this janma. Another janma. In the next janma, I become a lawyer. Then I find being a lawyer is not so good. I could have become a businessman. It's not possible in next janma, next janma. I was traveling somewhere. It happened in Nagpur. I was walking. Then an old man came. And he saw I am relatively young. And he asked me, अरे तुम इतनी जल्दी साधु बन गए? हमारे तो बाल पक गए. हम अभी तक साधु नहीं बने. कब साधु बनेंगे हम? Then I said immediately, अगले जन्म में. So, he wanted to make fun of me. I immediately said, Agle janam mein. In the next janma, you will become a sadhu. Then he asked me, Janam hota hai? Is there births? Then I said, yeah, there are births. So, to put an end to the seeking, you have to attain Param. Therefore, Param is the Purushartha, our goal, what we are seeking. And Param is Brahman. Therefore, Param Brahma. And where is Param Brahma? Is it in Swarga? Is it in another world? The Upanishad says, it is not in any other world. It is everywhere. It is Sarvatma. It is everybody's Atma. Everybody's self. Myself. Yourself. Itself. Himself. Herself. In everything there is one self. In myself, you remove my. What remains? Self. In yourself, you remove your. What remains? Self. In himself, herself, itself, remove him, her, it. What remains? The same self. The self is Brahman. And the self is not different. All my, your, him, her, it is all, it's all superimposed. The self is one. And we have superimposed my, your, him, her, it, etc. It is Sarvatma. Everybody's Atma. My Atma and your Atma is not different. The same Atma is shining in me. And the same Atma is shining in you. The same Atma is shining in everyone. Sarvatma. Vishwasyayatanam. The Brahman is Vishwasya Ayatanam. It is the support of everything. Vishwasya means Sarvasya, of everything. Ayatanam, it is support. Substratum, like the movie screen. Every picture in the movie appears on the movie screen. No picture can be independent of the movie screen. Now you take your grandson, 4-year-old grandson, to watch a movie. And before going to the theater, you told your grandson, we are going to watch a movie. And the movie happens on a white screen, you told him. And you took him to the theater. As soon as you entered the theater, the movie has already started. So many pictures are appearing on the movie screen. Then the grandson asks you, you said there is a white screen. Where is the white screen? There are so many images appearing in front of me. There is a boy, there is a girl. There are trees. There are horses. There are houses. Everything is coming and going in front of me. Where is the white screen? Show me the screen. How do you show the screen? You cannot see the screen independent of the pictures. Because the screen pervades all the pictures. The screen is there in every picture. The screen is the support of every picture, every object projected on the movie. So you are in a difficulty now. The movie is going on and everybody is watching the movie, and his 4-year-old grandson is crying, I want to see the screen, I want to see the screen. How can you show? Then you have to become a Vedanta teacher. See, every object is the movie screen. He won't understand immediately. You have to keep explaining, and slowly he may understand. If you explain, it will take time for the 4-year-old to understand. When I was a child, they told me, your country is Bharat. Your country is Bharata. Bharata is India. Nowadays, many people have discarded, they are not using India much. They use Bharat. So, I am following the suit. Your country is Bharat. Then, as a child, I kept on asking, how can I go to Bharat? How can I see Bharat? Because as a child, I thought Bharat is also like another small house, like the house I am living in. The idea of a large mass of land, a large geographical entity called a nation, and that is Bharat. I didn't get it. I was not able to understand it. So for me, any place is like a small house. So I kept on asking, how can I go there? I was not aware that I am already in Bharata. And the idea of Bharata, it includes this house, it includes the neighboring house, it includes every house around me, it includes millions of houses. I could not understand. It took time. Over the years, I understood what Bharata means. Likewise, we try to understand Brahman and we think we can understand Brahman as an object with the exclusion of other objects. That is how we expect to understand anything. Any new thing introduced, we try to understand it as an object with the exclusion of other objects. But it is not so with the Brahman, because Brahman is everything. It is the substratum of everything. Therefore, nothing excludes Brahman. In other words, Brahman encompasses everything. Brahman pervades everything. So you cannot show Brahman with the exclusion of other things. Instead, you have to understand the table is Brahman, the chair is Brahman, the house is Brahman. Brahman is everything. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Because it is the substance of everything. It is the substratum of everything. Just like the movie screen is a substratum of every picture that is projected on the movie. Therefore, Vishwasyayatanam, and being Vishwasyayatanam, it is Sarvatma. It is the essence of everything. The word Vishwasyayatanam justifies Sarvatma. Vishwasya ayatanatvat Sarvatma. Since it is the support of everything, it is the essence of everything. It is the self of everything. Mahat, another word. Mahat, big, limitless, free from all limitations. Since It is Vishwasyayatanam. It is Mahat also. Because nothing can limit it. The limiting factors are also supported by Brahman. The space is in Brahman. Therefore, the space cannot limit Brahman. The space can limit something which is in space. Which is confined to space. But Brahman is the support of space. Therefore, the space is in Brahman. Therefore, space cannot limit Brahman. I think I discussed this in the last session. So some people had doubts regarding this. How is it that Brahman, no limiting factor can limit Brahman? So space cannot limit Brahman because space is in Brahman. Therefore, there cannot be any space where there is no Brahman. Likewise, time. Even time cannot limit Brahman because time is in Brahman. There is no time when there is no Brahman. There is no space where there is no Brahman, and there is no time where there is no Brahman. That is why space and time cannot limit Brahman. Therefore, Mahat, it is free from all limitations. Infinite. Sukshmat sukshmataram. Subtler than the subtlest. Subtler than the subtle. Sukshma. The external world that we can perceive with our senses, it is called sthula, gross. The objects that we see, the objects that we perceive through our senses is sthula, gross. Then there are certain things that we cannot perceive with our senses. Like our mind and the emotions in our mind. We cannot perceive it through the senses. It is sukshma. But we know that we can sense for ourselves. What is happening in my mind, I know. Others cannot know it. What I am thinking now. Can anybody say what I am thinking now? Nobody can say. Because it is inside my mind. It is sukshma. But sometimes the sukshma becomes sthula. I am getting angry with someone. but still I am smiling. The anger is very sukshma at that time. Only I know I am angry. I can feel the anger, but the other person cannot see my anger. Then it is very sukshma. But then I cannot resist the anger because the anger builds up. I cannot resist the anger. Slowly it starts expressing on my face. My face becomes red. My facial expression changes. Then the anger has become a little sthula, gross. The sukshma anger has become a little sthula. Someone who looks at me carefully is able to sense it. Oh, this Swami is getting angry. Then if it builds up further, it becomes even more sthula. I shout at the other person. Even more sthula. I shout at the other person and I punch the nose. I punch his nose. It has become most sthula. That is how our emotions also develops from sukshma to sthula. If we are watchful, if we keep watching our mind from time to time, we can be aware of, we can be alert about the emotions when they are sukshma, when they are subtle, before they build up and become sthula. And then it is easy to manage them. It's easy to handle them. Okay, I am getting this emotion. Let me handle it. When it becomes sthula, it becomes unmanageable. So the emotions are sukshma. As long as we don't allow them to be seen by others, the emotions are sukshma. Others cannot see. Even we cannot see them with our senses, but we can feel it in our mind. It is sukshma. The Brahman is even more sukshma. Sukshma tara. Even subtler than our mind and its emotions. Because Brahman cannot be objectified. The emotions can be objectified, but the Brahman cannot be objectified. It is sukshmatara, subtlest. No senses can perceive Brahman. And it cannot be felt in the mind also, like the emotions. Therefore, Sukshmatara. What makes it Sukshmatara? Because it has no attributes. It has no movement. Therefore, Sukshmatara. So, Sukshmat Sukshmataram. More Sukshma than the Sukshma. The Sthula is easy to understand, easy to perceive. The Sukshma is a little difficult to understand, little difficult to know. Sukshma Tara is even more difficult to know. Very difficult to know. That is why many people don't even think of the remote possibility of something called Brahman. Being Sukshmatara. It seems remotely impossible, highly impossible. When we talk about Brahman, there is something called Brahman. Nobody will think of even the possibility of something called Brahman. That is why very few people come. 35, 34. It is Sukshmatara. That is why don't expect Brahmajnana to be appealing to the masses. It cannot be popular. And the teacher of Brahma Vidya cannot be popular. I know I am not going to be popular. And I don't intend to be popular also. If I have to be popular, first thing I should do is to grow a beard. And then stop talking too much about Brahman. Brahman can come once in a while. You have to speak so many other things that can appeal to the masses. I know how to become popular. I am just revealing you the trick. But I don't intend to do it immediately, at least. So you can rest assured. So, Sukshmat Sukshmataram and Nityam. It is Nitya, eternal. It doesn't change with the time. Free from limitations in terms of time. No beginning and no end. Nityam. So this is Tat. Tat. After Nityam there is Tat. This much is the description of Tat Pada in Mahavakya. What is Tat? All these. Param Brahma Sarvatma. It is Param. The most important it is Param. The Supreme. That is what you have been seeking. Always. The sought is Param. How can I become the sought? How can I become Brahman? As long as I am not aware of Brahman, I can think of becoming lawyer, doctor, engineer. But when I know there is something called Brahman, I want to become Brahman. I don't want to become doctor, lawyer, or engineer. Because doctor, lawyer, and engineer are small. Brahman is Param. Everything other than Param is Aparam, inferior. Whether it is a big doctor, super speciality doctor, super specialization. You go for specialization and then you go for super specialization. MBBS, MS, and after that some big degree. I don't know what is the combination of alphabets. You can have specialization of all combination of alphabets attached to your names. But nothing is Param. Everything is Aparam. When you look at Brahman. So I want to become Brahman. Nothing short of Brahman. How can I become Brahman? The Shruti says, you don't have to become Brahman. You are Brahman. Tat tvam eva. You are Brahman. This is a stunning revelation. You are Brahman. You don't have to become Brahman. You don't have to become Brahman means you don't have to become anything. Because you are the Param. You are the Supreme. You are the ultimate. With this statement, with this one single statement, Vedanta puts an end to all seekings. If you understand this statement, all seekings come to an end. All desires come to an end. You don't want to become anything. You don't seek anything. You don't want any addition to yourself. Because you are already complete. There cannot be any addition to the complete. No addition is needed to the complete. Tat tvam eva. You are that. The Upanishad could have stopped here. But the Upanishad continues to say, Tvam eva tat, you are that. That is you, you are that. This is a two-side equation, mutual equation. That is equated to you, and you are equated to that. It is like x is equal to y, and y is equal to x. The same equation is reversed. In Vedantic terminology, such equation is called Vyatihara. Vyatihara. This is a Vyatihara, mutual equation. Tat is equal to Tvam and Tvam is equal to Tat. This occurs in some Upanishads. It has its own significance. Because suppose the Upanishad just says Tat is equal to Tvam, certain doubts are possible. Certain doubts are possible. One may understand Tat is Tvam like Bangalore is India. Bangalore is India. When I say Bangalore is India, Bengaluru is Bharata. What does it mean? Bengaluru belongs to Bharat. It's a part of Bharat. It is not a whole of Bharat. I cannot say India is Bengaluru. That statement is wrong. I cannot say India is Bengaluru. Bengaluru is India is correct. Likewise, when I equate Tvam to Tat, somebody might think Tvam is a part of Tat. Tvam is an amsha of Tat. Tat is a whole and Tvam is a part. Some people might think so. The part-whole relationship between Tvam and Tat. Or somebody might think Tvam is an attribute of Tat. Tvam is a property of Tat. Some might think. Or Tvam is a product of Tat. Tvam is a part, Tvam is a property, or Tvam is a product of Tat. Some people might understand Mahavakya in these manners, in these ways. To rule out all those possibilities, the Shruti reverses. Tat is Tvam and Tvam is Tat. this Vyatihara rules out all those wrong understandings, wrong interpretations of Mahavakya. Tvam is not a product of Tat. Tvam is not a property of Tat. Tvam is not a part of Tat. Then what is Tvam? Tvam is Tat. There is no difference whatsoever between Tvam and Tat. You are nothing but Brahman. Nothing short of Brahman. Nothing lesser than Brahman. You are Brahman. Therefore, Tattvameva Tvameva Tat. That is you, and you are Brahman. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi.